Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we're going to try to repair these 4 smart speakers. Now I say try to repair because I have never taken these apart before. I don't know how easy or hard it's going to be. I don't know if any of them will be repairable. Now I bought them all from eBay in the one job lot for just under 30 UK pounds. So quite a good price. It says Amazon Echo Plus smart speakers, spares or repair. You can see the picture there. And this is what I paid for them, $29.99. But this was back in September 2018, so I've had these for well over a year now. I just never got round to doing them. So the price has come down a lot. You can actually get the first generation Google Home for £20 now, all over the place. So I can walk down the road and get one for £20 now. So I don't really know. What the going rate for these are. I've never taken them apart before. I don't know how hard or easy it will be. Now, to speed up the video a little bit, I've already unpacked them and I've gone through what I think are the faults. There might be a lot more. So basically, the Echo Plus here connects, looks absolutely immaculate. I will say that none of these come with any cables at all. These just take a micro USB, which is no problem at all because I've got loads of these. But unfortunately, these two are like specialist adapters, so I think if you were to buy these they would probably be quite expensive. I haven't looked into it. And this one here is for the Amazon Echo, but at least I've got these for testing anyway, and if I do get them working then I can look into buying the adapters for them. So yeah, with this one here, basically it looks like it connects and everything, but then it fails to authorize link code and it just comes up with like a red light and it can't do anything. So what I'm thinking about this one is possibly just reset it by either holding down the action button, or there's a little pinhole down at the bottom here, so that might well fix it. If not, I've been trying to connect it up using an Android phone. Maybe I can just try to connect it using an iPhone. That might work. If not, I might just use the internet browser. So I'm thinking that that's just a software related thing. And although it's not ideal, once I get it set up, then it should continue to work fine after that. So hopefully that should be, I'm thinking right now that that might be repairable. Now when it comes to this one here, Google Home, it's completely dead. Okay, so it looks like it's been bashed about a bit. Looks a little bit loose. You twist this to take it off, but that's normal. Yeah, we'll have a look at that, see what's happening. With the grey Google Home, this one does connect, and I have set it up, the Google Home Mini. I have set this up to my phone, but then what happens is you look at it and it's not working, and then you wonder what's going on. So what I did is I started asking it questions and I started wobbling it, and then it was cutting out while wobbling it. So it's either, I'm thinking, might be a faulty port here, might be dirty, or maybe there is something loose on the inside. So that's that one there. I'm thinking faulty port. And the black Google Home turns off lights and it can't connect, not found. So basically you plug it in, the lights do come on, but then after a few minutes, well, not even a few minutes, after about a minute they go off. And also I can feel it getting slightly warm, so it feels like it's getting warmer than this one here. So I'm not too sure what's happening with that one. So basically I'm just going to work through them and see what's happening. So to begin with, I think I'm going to start going by this one and then go through, because this one I'm thinking might be just a bad connection. This one just needs resetting, and with these two then I think they're going to be quite complicated. Well, this one might just need a clean port, but I think this one is going to be complicated, so we save that one to last. I'm not sure whether this will be done in the one video or whether it be part 1, part 2, part 3, etc. Really don't know. So let's start with this one here. Right, so let's plug it in again. Now I'm thinking to reset it that I have to have it turned on to reset. So let me get a little pin. Right, apologies, I went to get the pin, put it in the bottom, then realised that the camera wasn't filming because I turned it off when I went to get the pin. But there's a little hole here, you just put it in there and you can feel a little button and you just give it a tiny little press and you can just feel it click in. It's just a little clickable button. This then, I think it just went to orange for a split second and then went off. So now I'm going to see if it connects up this time. I'm not going to film this because there's going to be personal data on here and stuff. So it's just going through at the moment. I can't show you the phone side of things, but you can see it's connected to my phone, and now it says preparing your Echo Plus. In fact, I can show you this one bit here. And it's come up with the same problem again, failed to authorize link code, please try again. So that reset didn't work. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to turn it off again, and this time I'm going to connect it up using the browser on my little laptop here and see if it works when I go via the browser. Right, okay, it's still spinning orange at the moment, but look, it definitely connected more this time. It's gone further. It says your Echo Plus is online when I've done it via the browser. I mean, I'm using this little laptop, but you'd be able to do it via any, web-based browser rather than Android or iPhone. Right, the orange light's gone out, so let's give it a go. What time is it?
The time is 2:02 p.m. Have a good Monday.
Alexa, what time is it in Sydney, Australia?
In Sydney, it's 1:02 a.m.
Fantastic. Play The Odd Numbers.
Odd Number by Red Cardigan tonight from Spotify.
Alexa, stop. Fantastic. So all it needed was setting up via another browser. Now, that wasn't me that made that up. All I did was go online and I typed in failed to authorize link code on Amazon, and basically then it just came up with those things to reset it, and then other people say that they fix it by just using a browser. So there you go, Google is definitely your friend on that one. So for me now, that £30, even if I don't fix anything else, is well spent because of this work in here. So I'm just going to ask it to tell me the news, and then now every time I say the A word I'm going to have to blank it out because otherwise it's going to kick off all of your equipment while you're watching it. So Alexa, tell me the news.
Here's your news.
So I just want to see if the volume's working.
From BBC News. With your latest update. 5 people have been sentenced to death in Saudi Arabia over the murder of...
Stop. Right, so that appears to be working. So now I'm just going to see if it works now. Alexa, what time is it? Alexa, tell me the news. Okay, so the microphone bit works as well, volume works. So I think the original problem was the fact for some reason this system here doesn't want to connect to Android. So obviously if you bought it from the shop and you took this home, you'd be taking it straight back to wherever you bought it from or sending it back to Amazon, because you don't want that sort of hassle. You expect it to work on any device. Why it's not working on, for example, Android, I do not know. Maybe next time it gets updated it will now work. It might have been some bug or something, but for me it doesn't matter because now it's connected to the internet because I did it via the browser. So that's really good. So let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the Google Home. Right, so next up we have the Google Home, and if you have a look, I've plugged it in now. That's loose there. I've plugged it in and there's nothing happening on top. Right, there's a loose ribbon cable there, but there's screw holes here. So this has been apart before. That's not just a natural loose ribbon cable, because yeah, look, there should be little screws in these holes here. Well, let's pop it back in and see what it does when that's back in. Right, so there's just a little flap there that you lift up to shove that ribbon cable back in. Let's put it back together now. Right, okay, so it's still not doing... Oh, yes it is. There's lights there. It's just it's so bright in here you can't see it. Yeah, there we go. Right, okay, I'll let it do its thing for a bit and I'll try to connect up. I'm sure it can't be just a ribbon cable, because why was it taken apart in the first place? Unless somebody was just being nosy about what was in it and then they didn't work out how to put the ribbon cable back in. I mean, that is possible. It's obvious when you've worked with a few ribbon cables, but maybe if you haven't worked with them before, you might not know how to do it. Good thing is I have bought from this seller before on eBay a few times, and the items really are not tested. They come in and then they go out again. Well, the ones I have had in the past anyway. There you go, sound as well. Yes, that's working.
The mic is muted. The mic's back on.
There we go. It sounds different to my one though. That's American. On my one it's UK. I wonder if you can change that in the settings. Right, I'm going to try to connect this up to my phone, and we'll see what's wrong with this one. So I'll be back to this in a little bit. Well, so far so good. It's definitely found it. Google Home found. Right, according to this, it's connected. There you go. You see here other cast devices, bedroom 1 speaker. So let's see if it's going to work or not. So obviously I'm going to be muting out my bit of the voice where I say the beginning bit. What time is it in Sydney, Australia?
The time in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia is 1:22 a.m. on Tuesday.
Let me just mute my phone because it's coming up on my phone as well. What's the weather like in Edinburgh, Scotland? What's the weather like in Edinburgh, Scotland? Hey Google. Ah, look. It's turned itself off. Look. It's not doing anything. Excellent. Right, so there definitely is a problem with it. But good news is it did connect to begin with. That's weird, isn't it? Right, so we've got a little flashing light there. Not sure what that means. Okay, I think that means when the mic's on. Hey Google, what time is it? Right, so let's unplug this. So that ribbon cable just came out very easy again, but let's just make sure that that is definitely connected. So it looks like when you first of all connected that it does work for a short amount of time. Just going to let it set itself up again. Okay Google. Okay. What time is it?
It's 2:24.
I'm just going to mess around with it a bit. I just want to see how long it lasts before it cuts off.
The microphone is muted. The microphone is back on. The microphone is muted. The microphone is back on. The microphone is muted. The microphone is back on.
Right, so again it's working perfectly, so let me just leave it now for a minute and see what happens then. Right, it still appears to be working okay. So I hope this isn't an intermittent one where, for example, it'll work for a day and then just stop. And then you turn it off, back on again, and it works for like a minute and then stops. Well, what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to fault find something that's working, because it's going to be, for me, impossible, I'm going to leave this now for about 5 or 10 minutes, come back and still see if it is connected, because normally it should stay connected essentially forever, as long as there's power and a Wi-Fi connection. Right, so it's been about 5 minutes now, so let's see if it's still live or not. Yes, it is. What's 2 times 7 minus 5?
The answer is 9.
Right, okay. I mean, I don't know why it kind of threw that wobbly to begin with. Let's wobble it around the place in case it is a bad connection. Yeah, I really don't know. Do you know what? I think this is going to have to be maybe a revisit one, because I'm not going to know until long-term usage exactly what's happening here. But at this moment in time, it seems to be fine. But all I've done is plug in that ribbon cable. That's all I've done. Now, it'd be different if, for example, I had to undo all the screws and the ribbon cable was undone, because then I would think it might have been dropped and it fell out. But all the screws are missing, so somebody has purposely taken this apart. Unless the only thing I can think is they were being nosy to see what it was like on the inside, and then they yanked it up, undone the ribbon cable by accident, and then didn't know how to put it back in. So what I have to do is, let's unplug that, I have to find out what screws is going to fit this, because I need to at least put in a couple of screws. So oh, this one really good now. There we go. Right, so I've got to get screws that fit in these ones here. So I'm just going to have a look, see if I've got any small plastic ones that would do the job. I only need a couple just to keep it in place. Right, I found a couple of screws in the Megajoy 2000 controller that I couldn't get working. This is a controller that keeps on giving. This has fixed a clock radio in the past, and now it's given its donor in itself to fix up this Google Home, which is great. Now what I've done is I've just used a little T6 Torx bit just to undo two screws here, and the ones at the side. I just want to have a look at this power connector here, just to make sure that it's not a bad connection on the power, because that could be why it's cutting out. So I have to, there's a little kind of rubber band that goes all the way around it, so I'm just going to have to loosen that off. Just going to leave that there so it can stick on again afterwards. So now this should just lift out, I think. Yes, it should. Right, okay. That's just that little thing there for... I just have to work out how it goes back in. That's just for the light at the back, for the mute button for the mic. Right, so what have we got here now? So we've got the power adapter that goes in here, and that works its way up. So that's definitely all connected. But if there was an issue with the power, it looks like it would be on this little board here. Let's just reseat this ribbon cable here. Well, I'm not sure if there's more. Oh, of course, so the ribbon cable goes up there, and this must be just something to do with the speakers down at the bottom here. Yeah, well, they're definitely all connected up fine, aren't they? I can't see any problems there whatsoever. That jack is definitely not loose in any way, and that pin in the middle is not bent. It all looks absolutely perfect. Well, I'm going to put it back together and just take it that it's working until it goes faulty, and then if it goes faulty again, which it might well do, I will then do a revisit video on it. I'll have more information on it then. Right, that just clips back in there like that. In there, and the bottom bit just clips in. Like so. So you see there's a little micro USB there. So if you want it to, it's unofficial, but you can actually get this to work on a wired connection using that port. I did a video on that in the past. As you can see, it's a lovely looking device, and you've got the speakers down the bottom here going out in all directions apart from the back. Yeah, those screws fit in lovely. Do you know what? Because they fit so nice, I am going to put the other two in as well. Just going to give it a quick clean. that's it. All done, all looking lovely and clean. It actually looks brand new. So let's just plug it in one last time, let it set itself up, and then we'll make sure it's still working. It's all working again, but this is interesting. Listen to this. What's the weather like today?
In Sheerness today, it'll be partly cloudy, with a forecasted high of 10 and a low of 6.
Yeah,
Currently it's 9 and partly cloudy.
so you see there it said Sheerness. So basically I've gone back onto my Google Home app on here, and I can see who this actually belongs to because it says linked account, Raymond someone or other. So what I have to do is do a factory reset on this and then set it up all over again. So to factory reset, I'm going to hold down this mute button for about 5 seconds or so. So let's have a look now. I'm going to press it and hold it now. Okay, can you see those colours there?
You're about to completely reset Google Home. To cancel, release the button.
I'm not going to release. Look, when that goes all the way around, it will then reset itself. There you go. Right, so now I have to set it up again using the same details as before, and hopefully then it will recognise this as being mine and not somebody else's. So that's useful to know if you ever buy one second hand and get it working, or even just buy one second hand. That's how you reset it to back to factory settings. So I'm just going to set this up again now.
9 and a low of 6.
Right, okay, I've reset that and I've set it up under my account now, and it is recognising my area, so it's definitely on my account. So there we go. I think that that one is actually going to be okay. Not too sure what the problem was with it, but time will tell, and if it does go faulty again in the future, I will do a revisit video. But you know what? I don't think it will. I think by maybe even just resetting it, reseating that ribbon cable, I think that was it. I don't really... Who knows what the original problem was? It could even be maybe a fault with the lead feeding it, and then if it gets sent away, do shops even test it? Probably not. It just probably all gets palleted up and shipped off to like a recycling company, who then sell it on or do whatever they do with it. And if that company don't bother testing things because they might not have the people, they might be happy, they might make enough money by just job lotting it off, and they don't need to get involved with the testing and the reselling of single items. A lot of people want to deal in bulk, get it in, get it out again as quickly as possible. I think that is going to be okay. So far, very successful. We've got 2 working ones out of that batch. Now let's move on to the next one as far as ease is concerned, and then we'll save the hardest one till the very end. Right, okay, so I've got this set up. This is definitely working on my account.
Tottenham yesterday.
Yeah, listen
The
there.
Prime Minister's spokesman said the
Watch
government
this.
will be monitoring.
There you go. See, it's gone. Do you know what? Unless it's something to do with pausing it, I don't know how this works. Let me read a quick guide on this just to understand how you can pause it, because I know that that's to do with the volume, which is definitely working. But saying that, look, it seems to be like searching now as if it's lost the connection. Look at that, you see? That's not right, is it? I'm going to read a quick guide on that anyway, because I need to know how to work it. Right, I'm not too sure about the fault on this one. See, I thought that this was cutting out because it was a faulty port, because when I kind of held it, it was stopping. But that's exactly how you operate it. So basically, you have 4 lights here, and okay. All you got to do is hold down either side. So the volume is tap this side to make it go lower, tap this side to make it go higher, and then you hold down either side to pause it. So maybe it was cutting out because I was actually holding the side, because unless you're holding it here, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's put the volume on really low. I better put the news on instead, just for copyright issues.
Headlines from BBC News at 2:20 p.m. today.
Authorities' response to the incident. Ife Onuora from the professional football.
No, it definitely cut out there, didn't it? Definitely cut out there, and I don't think that's the top. No, it's cut out. I think that that is just a slightly faulty or loose port. Maybe it got dropped or something. So I might just get away with just cleaning it. But I'll tell you what, let's take it apart anyway. So I'm going to apply some heat here and then slide this up and then undo the screws, because I need to know, I probably have to end up swapping parts over with this one to get this one working anyway. And then I can have a look. I don't know whether this is soldered on or whether it's a modular thing that you just change out. So let's get a little bit of heat applied. Right, all the stickiness came out from here, so hopefully I will be able to use the same sticky pad again. Okay, it's another T6 security bit, just like the Google Home. Right, so you can see the port is here. So all I have to do is undo this ribbon cable. Now it looks like if you did damage it, that would be a very, very, very easy port to change over, because you could just change this whole little board over that contains the mic muting switch and also the USB port. Well, I'm going to have a very close look at this micro USB port and see what it's like when I plug the cable in, see if I can see anything wiggling. Oh, okay, and there's the reset button underneath it. You can hear it just underneath there. Do you know what? These are all really nicely made products, aren't they? Just going to get my eye loop on this. No, I can't see anything wrong with that at all. But to me, it's definitely a port issue. But saying that, you're not going to be shaking it around the place. You know, it's just going to be sat on the table, isn't it? See, what I did notice is you have to be quite particular about the cable you use, because if you look at this one, this is quite a big one. And if you have a look, can you see that it ever so slightly fouls the bodywork? Yeah? You see where it goes in there? I can't push it in anymore because that's foul in there. But if I use a smaller cable, then it goes right the way in. Yeah? So obviously the proper Google cable would go right the way in. Do you know what I think I'm going to do? I mean, it doesn't look dirty at all, but I am going to clean it with IPA. I'm going to bend this metal shroud down just a little bit because there is a lot of play. And I suppose if there's play, there's more chance then of the contacts in here not quite making, or maybe coming away from the middle contacts there, you know, where basically the male part in there where this actually connects onto. So by me bending the shroud down just a fraction of a millimetre, it might keep this more in place rather than having that wiggle, because there is a lot of wiggle there. But then again, there's wiggle on all micro USB. But I'm going to clean it with IPA just in case it is dirt related, and then bend that down slightly, put a drop of the Oxit in. I think that will be it. I actually want to crush that connector a bit, but I don't want to crush it too much. I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put the cable actually in there when I crush it with the pliers. so I use this one here. So there you go, you can see what I'm going to do now. I've got that in there. I just want to protect that little, I just want to protect the board a little bit. I don't want to gouge it with my pliers. Right, so there you go, you can see what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to squeeze down. Obviously not too hard. Still feels pretty loose. Just going to do it ever so slightly without the connector in there. That feels a bit better. Right, that feels nice. Still got wiggle to it, but it's always going to have wiggle. Right, let's try that now. Right, tiny bit of deoxit in there, and this will help with the connection. Still got a lot of wiggle to it. And now I'm just going to clean up the plastic and let's put it back together, but I'm not going to put the bottom rubber on it yet because I might need to swap parts over with this one to prove what the fault is. So that's in there. Right, let it boot up again. What's the news?
Here's the latest news. Resuming headlines from BBC News at 2:20 p.m. today.
Authorities' response to the incident. Ife Onuora from the Professional Footballers Association says there needs to be serious action.
Oh, I can't touch the sides, remember. Right, okay. Now when I shake it, that's fine. Now let's see what happens when I wiggle the leaves.
Needs to put pressure on the authority.
Did it go again?
No,
it didn't.
A Saudi court has sentenced 5 people to death for the killing of the journalist
No,
Jamal
look.
Khashoggi, a well-known critic of
But saying that, you're not going to be doing that anyway.
murdered in the Saudi consulate in
Right, let's see if it cuts out completely now. Right, so that's giving it a lot of wiggling.
Istanbul
No.
last year. Key government officials who it's claimed...
Do you know what? I think that that's working all right. All I think it is a bit of an iffy connection on the power port there. So by using a bit of deoxit, probably just cleaning it would have been fine. I don't really think I crushed it much at all. So yeah, if I just put a drop of deoxit in it to begin with, it probably would have been okay. Again, if it's something else, I'll do a revisit, but there's no point in tearing into it completely when it appears to be working okay. So let's just make sure that the mic button is still working.
The mic's off. Royal family were cleared of being involved.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, good. Yeah, so it's not listening.
The microphone is back on.
Shanghai Jet.
What day will it be on February the 17th, 2022?
The 17th of February 2022 falls on a Thursday.
Cards for Tesco.
There we go. Right, I think that is another fixed one. Maybe it fell off a shelf a few times and was dangling off the port. Who knows? Or maybe somebody was using a particularly dirty cable on it, in which case then it might have put a bit of dirt onto one of the contacts, and by wiggling it around it kind of makes or breaks. Again, who knows? But at this moment in time it appears to be working. So let's move on to this one here. Actually, before that, let me just give this a quick clean up. Right, okay, normally when I did this earlier on it wouldn't get this far. The only difference I've done is I was using this cable earlier. So although this was making a connection, maybe it was only just barely making a connection, because right now that is connected. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 3:57.
Unbelievable. Right, okay, let's okay, news.
Here's the latest news. From headlines from BBC News at 2:20 p.m. today.
Good afternoon. Here's an update from the BBC Newsroom. Prince Charles has visited Fish Lake in South Yorkshire to see the impact of the severe flood.
Again, it's working. So earlier on when I was testing it, the reason it wouldn't connect properly, I mean you can see it's already connected to my phone because it went through and then stopped. It just went dead. And I'm pretty sure now it was because this cable wasn't fully, this isn't the right cable. So again, this might be a common problem. Let's say if obviously people are going to use the original cable, but let's say they then move house or something, they might not necessarily use the original cable because they see it's a micro USB and they use that, or they might have a kitten or a rabbit or something that chews through it and they just use one of their ones from their Android phone or numerous other devices, and they think it connects, but it's not a great connection because it's not going all the way in. I wonder how many of these are put down as faulty because people are just using the wrong cable, because they're not going to go out and buy a special Google one when they already have ones around the house. But that's just a standard cable there. It's not a particularly big one or anything, but that doesn't fit. So again, this one appears to be
Flooding that hit the village last
The mic's off.
appears to be okay.
Hundreds of homes and businesses
The microphone is back on.
were in fact
The mic's off.
evacuated after the
The microphone is back on.
River Don
Yeah.
burst its back.
Right, so with this one, it's kind of pointless taking it apart.
Football Authority
It keeps coming back on because I keep tapping the side. I'm just going to give it a good clean. So I'm going to unplug it and just give this one a clean. Again, I wonder now if it was set up incorrectly. So for example, you know, because it uses Wi-Fi, let's say if it was in part of the building that didn't have a good Wi-Fi signal. I wonder when people take it back to the shops, do they actually get checked? Or again, do they just get sent out? Because when it comes to technology like this, a lot of people will blame it when it's not the fault of this. If there's weak Wi-Fi, there's weak Wi-Fi. It's got nothing to do with this item itself. Well, I suppose it could be. You know, I suppose the antenna in here could have gone faulty or something. But yeah, I think it all looks okay. Right, I'm just going to put the other one back together and just give this one a nice clean up on the top. Taking the back on, I'm just going to make sure that I put that round little circle over the reset button. Otherwise, once it's on, nobody's going to know where to press it in the future. Right, so that is it. Of all 4 of them, all 4 appeared to be working okay. Alexa, Simon says, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year.
I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year.
There you go, said it perfectly and worked first time. So that is it for this year. What a lovely way to finish the year on a nice, simple, easy fix video. So thank you to everybody who's helped me over the year. You've all been a massive help for all the comments and everything, and I feel like I've come a long way with the fixes. So if you celebrate Christmas, I'd like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. You can hear the carolers in the background. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I'd like to wish you all happy holidays and a lovely, prosperous and, more importantly, a healthy New Year. Now, that will be it for me. I might release a video in between Christmas and New Year's, unless, if you have a look down here, I did get a package the other day addressed to Mr. Telephone, and it says on it, do not open until Christmas Day. So I might quickly get the camera out tomorrow just to film to see what that package is. So that is it. I hope you all have an amazing Christmas. Big thumbs up to everybody. Take care. Bye now.